Annyeonghaseyo! Welcome to Afternoona Delight, where Leah, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unnies.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi there.
Was that as funny as you hoped it would be?
You ruined it, so now it can't be. I can't say, oh, Megan,
how did I ruin anything?
You didn't even let me say anything about it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, say what you're gonna say.
Then you're gonna edit all that out of you making fun of me? No, you're not.
No, leave it.
Screw you all. I'm going home. I have a cold. I had a long day. I'm sitting here drinking this disgusting echinacea throat coat tea so that I sound okay for you all. And Leah's being a dick. Welcome.
That's going to be the...
Welcome, everybody. And welcome, Megan, who is not actually Afternoona Megan. But we've got BTS Megan with us today.
Yes, because we're very happy to have you, BTS Megan.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here. I love talking about K-dramas. And I'm very excited to talk about this one.
Afternoona Megan did not watch the drama that we're discussing today. So we pulled in a sub Megan for the day.
Which is good, because I think we need to have balance.
I just want to say really quick that I have been begging for about 2 years for any of you ladies to watch a Song Kang drama. And I'm just excited that it has finally happened, whether you like it or not.
Well, the funny thing is, because Megan, when you and I, it must have been like during a Rowoon discussion when we were doing Destin with you, and something came up about like our top like people, and you mentioned Song Kang, and I'm like, I don't even know who he is. Like, I've never seen him before. I've never seen him in a drama. And like 2 minutes into the first episode of My Demon, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah. So very happy. But before we get to the drama, I wanted to just run a little bit of advertising by you that I saw on my way home from work today and ask you both what you think about it. I pass a lot of billboards. There's a lot, like I drive on the tollway to get home from work and there's tons of billboards. But then there's also a lot of billboards right when I get off the tollway and I'm sort of like getting closer to the town that I live in. And so it's more like local advertising. Like when I'm on the tollway, you see a lot of stuff like by the airport and like big businesses and stuff like that. But this was for a local like pool and patio store, right? And I live in the suburbs of Chicago. So the only time we need stores like that are like not for a while. Right? Like it's February, it's cold, nobody's going outside in a pool. Maybe you're putting in a hot tub. I don't know. But here was the billboard. It was a beautiful like pool, sun glistening, a woman floating on like one of those big like unicorn floaties. Mm-hmm. And the slogan on the top said, "You'll be wet in a week." That's some nice suburban advertising there, don't you think?
I think I'd be like, well, I want to be wet now.
I was in the car with my son, so I couldn't even react because I'm like, with my son and his friend who was driving home from their track meet. I'm like, if I react, I'm going to have to explain why I'm reacting.
Yeah, you don't want to have that mom calling you.
We don't want to have that conversation.
While that is hilarious and such a fun play on words, I had a similar experience over the summer here in Fresno. A local vet's office ran one billboard that I saw anyway on my part of town. And on one side, it says, "Does your kitty itch?" And on the other side, it says, "Does your wiener have a rash?" And it was a cat and a wiener dog. And I live in a very conservative part of California. Like Fresno at one point in time was considered the Bible Belt of California because we have literally a church like almost on every corner. And I remember looking at my 16-year-old daughter and saying, what is the over under on how long that billboard's going to stay up? And the following weekend when we went back by it, it was gone. And I felt like I should have called them and been like, I'm going to give you my business because this billboard is hilarious.
I mean, that's good advertising. You're going to remember that. I don't have a yard that needs a pool, but I will always remember that pool and patio shop for "You'll be wet in a week."
I feel like they used restraint in Fresno because they pulled up from the pussy, which is where they should have taken it. And they were, so I mean, to me, they were going classy.
I felt like that too. But again, we live in a very conservative part of California. And so I just knew, I was like, there's no way this billboard is staying up very long. And it didn't, but it was still cute. And my two girls still talk about it to this day.
So funny.
I like it. So we are not talking about kitties or wieners today.
Well, I mean, speak for yourself.
Okay. We're not going to let our feelings show just yet. We will get there. There is time to get to the good stuff. But because I don't have a classy segue and I'm tired, I'm just going to say we're talking about My Demon today. And you all knew that because you saw the title of the podcast before you hit play anyway. So all these times we're trying to do our fancy segues doesn't even really matter because you know what we're going to talk about. There's no surprises here. So as always, we will start our deep dive by keeping things spoiler free, and we'll give you a heads up after the K-pop rec to remind you that we are heading into spoiler town. But for now, here's a bit about My Demon. My Demon is a late 2023, early 2024 Netflix drama that began airing in November and just wrapped up in January. Netflix sums the drama up in a pretty succinct elevator pitch that I actually like. A pitiless demon becomes powerless after getting entangled with an icy heiress who may hold the key to his lost abilities and his heart. Not bad, right? For an elevator pitch, one-line elevator pitch. Netflix is doing okay.
Yeah.
So in a bit more detail, Dodo Hee, played by Kim Yoo-jung, is the successor to Future Group, much to the dismay of CEO Ju Chun-suk's children. Why? Because Do-hee is not a blood relative to Ju Chun-suk, played by Kim Hae-suk. For reasons revealed later in the drama, she is raised by Chun-suk after her parents die in a car accident, an accident for which Do-hee blames herself. Chun-suk constantly tries to set Do-hee up on blind dates, and when Do-hee finally agrees to one, she heads to the wrong restaurant and mistakes Jung-won, a demon who just wants to enjoy a meal and a slice of cake, for her date. She has disdain for him because she thinks he's her setup, and he has disdain for her because she's human. After some hijinks, the two part ways until one fateful night when Do-hee is being chased down the road by a man with a knife who is trying to kill her. Gu-won, who only helps humans if they sign a contract that pledges their souls to Gu-won in 10 years' time, helps Do-hee with a quick verbal contract, but then the two plunge into the sea, something goes awry, and Gu-won's powers get trapped inside Do-hee, only accessible when he holds her wrist. So, from a story setup standpoint, and based on nothing else that you know about this drama, is this a good premise for a romance?
I'll jump in first. So, yes. I also want to say that when I started this drama, I was in full possession of my faculties, but I was really sick. So I had RSV and flu. And I love like the intro music. I love the aesthetic. I liked the humor of their meet cute with the cake and like the mistaken identity part of it. I found it very charming.
I love when there is a supernatural baddie who cannot stand whatever the other species is and just wants nothing to do with them at all, and then becomes like a big ol' softie at some point. So I like the premise, but I was gonna watch this no matter what. So I don't know that I'm a good judge at this point.
I liked it. I mean, we've talked many times before about my predilection for paranormal romances in K-dramas. And so I love when I have the opportunity to watch one and get to know a new actor. And so, yeah, I was down, and it was actually Afternoona Megan who watched first. She watched the first couple of episodes and was like, I am sold. I get it about Song Kang. Like, I'm totally in. And then she just dropped off and never watched the rest of the drama. So are we throwing her under the bus? Yes, but that's okay. It happens.
Sure.
There's things that grab us and things that don't, and that's totally fine. Although it always seems that dramas that I am like gung-ho on and watch through to the end, Megan falls off of. But
No, see, I feel like it's me, not Megan.
that you fall off of dramas that I love?
I feel like that.
Well, yeah, you too. So really, I just don't fit in this podcast, is what you're saying.
No, I think what happens is this has happened in like a few of the other dramas I've watched over the summer. And I don't know if this is like a new thing with like this, like 2023 going into 2024 dramas, but a lot of these dramas on paper, when you're reading about them, sound really, really good. And I'm not saying I didn't like this drama, because I really did. And I'm not saying it's not good. What I'm saying is that you get into it and there are like 7,500 subplots. And I think that's where people get turned off, because if I'm being honest, like this one, Good Bad Mother, Castaway Diva, some of the dramas that I've watched this year, not only do they have this like main romance plot happening, they have other subplots with B characters. And you get to a certain point where you're like, I just want to see the main couple. I just want to know what's going to happen next. I just need the answer to the mystery. So, I mean, because I'm a Megan also, in Megan's defense, that might be what's happening, because I understand.
But like, yeah, I don't know. There are times, and I think this happens with anyone that you sort of like buddy watch dramas with. There are times where you totally converge and you're like, yes, this is it. And there are times that you don't. So, I mean, this is just to say, like, Megan and I are both watching, Marry My Husband right now and loving it. And we both watched a Shop for Killers and loved it. So yeah, I mean, we do converge. She just started watching so many other things. She's like, I'm not going back to my demon. I'm like, that's okay. I have another Megan.
You know what? I just realized as you said this, because I did not know something, that I just gave a listener terrible information today.
What did you do?
So I have to apologize to this listener and circle back to them. Somebody wrote and said, Amy's watching A Shop for Killer. I'm so surprised. It's really violent. And I said, oh no, Amy's definitely not watching A Shop for Killers. That's just Megan.
Nope. I watched the whole thing and I loved it.
Okay. So apologies, listener. And I will circle back to you on Instagram to say, I don't know what the left doesn't know what the right hand is doing.
I will say this about A Shop for Killers, and this is how Megan sold me on it, is that a lot of the violence is off camera. You know what's going on. You can hear stuff, but because it's happening in the presence at the time of a 10-year-old girl and she's hiding, you don't see a lot of it. You see some aftermath and stuff like that. But I will say that out of the 8 episodes that there were of A Shop for Killers, they saved the on-screen violence for 7 and 8. There was plenty of it, and it was pretty brutal. But I was already like, I was down. I was in for this story, and I loved Yoo-jung in this drama, and I can't wait. There better freaking be a season 2. But yeah, Megan's oldest me is John Wick, and like I've seen all the John Wicks, but I watch them with my son, who does not ever have to cover his eyes for anything on the screen, and who can tell me when John Wick, is like done shoving a pencil in a guy's ear or something like that, But yeah, it is violent towards the end, but not so bad in episodes 1 through 6. And I did watch it. All of it. My demon is not violent at all, you guys. For as much,
I mean, it's violent, but like very mild.
Yeah,
there's
like not like gory violent. Like there's murders, there's stabbings, like
face burning
that is comical, I will say.
Well, it depends on whose face it is. I mean, I don't know if I was laughing at that point. Let's be honest.
We might be talking about different people's face burning. More than one person gets burned in this.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get to the face burning.
Let's. Okay, so we all agree it's a good setup for a story. Okay, and this is kind of going to what Megan was saying before about she was going to watch this no matter what the blurb said. Did you come to this drama for the story or for the cast?
Megan, why don't you answer this one? Because I think we know.
I started watching this drama for 2 words: Song Kang. Because I feel like he is so overlooked. As a K-drama actor and lead, I watched 4 things this is the 4th drama that I've seen him in. And I'm just going to try to sell people on him really quick. He has got incredible abs in this. And he takes, it's not really a sad shower. He just is in a steamy shower, I guess. And he plays, the big golden retriever energy like really well at one point. And so look, he is really good to look at, but he's also a really good actor. And any chance I will get, I will talk about Navalaria because still at this point, I think it's his best drama. And I would have watched this like it could have been worse. It could have been way worse. And I know Leah's name tonight is No, Really, I Hate It, but I'm just saying, like, for me, it could have gone sideways, and I just would have been like, I'm still here. I'm still watching it.
So I would say I watched it for the premise, which, intrigued me. Song Kang, okay. No hate on Song Kang, but I think, I don't know what it was. Like, he's obviously a attractive fellow. But I don't know. I just was never like, oh yeah, I need to like see him do much. And so I was kind of like negative to neutral, probably negative neutral. Within 2 seconds of the drama starting, I was like, I get it. Like, it's one of those, we've talked about other actors that you need to see it to believe it.
That was Lee Min-ho for me. Like
Lee Min-ho. I feel like it was very Lee Min-ho, where I was kind of like, of course he's an attractive person, but I'm just kind of like, meh. In some ways, it was almost like he was like too cute and pretty that I was like, I don't know what it was. There was just something where I was just kind of like, I don't know. I really liked him. I thought he did a great job. I thought his performance, he did great throughout. So when I say my screen title tonight is, at this point, No, Really, I Hate It. I did have This Was Horse Shit and got kicked out, so I've changed it. I'm not coming for Song Kang on this.
No.
And then I also actually really like Kim Yoo-jung, who I haven't seen most of their dramas. Like I haven't seen Backstreet Rookie. I'm not going to. It's been panned pretty consistently. But I did see Love in the Moonlight, where they played a eunuch, and I love a gender bending historical trope a lot. And they were really fun in that. And so that was a nice surprise to see them pop up in the drama too. And then look, I'm always gonna like Lee Sang-yi, who needs to stop being the second male lead all the time.
Megan and I were talking about this, yeah.
Was our amazing second male lead in Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha and became the secondest, mostest, leadest, manest ever in My Demon. Like, truly. Like, dear Jesus God.
Yeah, I mean, like,
no one's second male leaded harder except for him in Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha.
He second male leaded so hard to the extent where he was falling for Guan too. Like, he got it. He's like, of course, you're going to pick this amazing demon over me. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I mean, I knew about the drama, obviously, because it was, like, new and it had just dropped. And, like, Afternoona Megan started it, and she's like, I get, like, the whole Song Kang thing. And I'm like, I have to watch this for BTS Megan because she's been talking about this guy to me. And I'm looking him up. I'm like you, Lee, I'm like, he's pretty. He's really pretty. Like, but it's like the second he walks on screen and starts talking and like that exasperated demon who just wants to dine alone in a fancy restaurant. With his
fancy cake.
And the way that he changes throughout from like exasperated demon to total golden retriever is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just want to say too that at his age, I feel like he's very young, and the dramas that I've seen him in, he has played such different characters in all the dramas. Some of the dramas were great. Some of the dramas were, they've been panned. They've been talked about. But I will say that he has a really good acting range that you don't really get to see here in My Demon. Obviously, it's like a rom-com mystery. But he's just a cutie. And he, went from like being a ballerino to being like kind of a fuckboy to being like a demon. And so I love it. Give me more.
Yeah, he gives good demon.
Yeah, he does. He gives good black trench coat.
What would you say is a good comp for this drama if you're trying to sell it to someone? Which, Leah, I know you're not.
I'm not going to deign to goblin this.
No. I wouldn't. No.
I would say if you enjoyed something about 1% or personal taste, which are the two dramas that
we pan so hard.
Afternoona Megan and Amy pan so hard. I now have one. Because I think like people were like, oh, but you didn't like Cafe Minimdong and you didn't like the Sound of Magic. True, I didn't. But they did not leave me enraged. More just like, meh, I didn't like them. Today I will be unpacking that I finally have a drama that I hate enough that I will talk about forever. So thank you, my demon, because I fucking hated it. And I did a poll on our Instagram to see if people could guess. 45% of people guessed my demon. So either they're good guessers and they've deduced by, I don't know, knowing what I've been watching, or other people hate it too. I stayed away from spoilers because I kept hearing there were these big spoilers. I felt let down. I was kind of like, I was expecting some big spoilers because people were like, whoa, just stay away. I'm like, okay, I'm staying away. Yeah, there were spoilers. The spoilers is episode 16 is a fucking dumpster fire. And I will explain why.
When we get to the spoiler section. Yes.
Yes.
We will let you have at it.
That's all I have to say for right now. I'm going to save it.
Okay, so I am not going to give that much of a hot take. What I will say is, funny story, I've only seen Kim Yoo-jung in historicals or adjacent historicals, like this one. So if you liked Love in the Moonlight, and the terribly underrated Lovers of the Red Sky, you will like her in this. She plays the same type of modern day, like, plucky, determined heroine. And so I think if you liked her in Love in the Moonlight, or if you watched Lovers of the Red Sky and you liked how she was, the kind of character that she played, I think you'll like this too. Cause she's basically playing like kind of the same determined female lead, with a man in her life. And just as a side note to people that are listening, I watched Lovers of the Red Sky because I thought I was watching The Red Sleeve because they dropped at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I was too far in to back out of Lovers of the Red Sky. So I just went for it. And then I watched The Red Sleeve way later. But Lovers of the Red Sky was my first on Hyo Soap drama. So it worked out. I
was like, there ain't nothing wrong with looking at him for 16 to 20 episodes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I will say, no, they tried to be Goblin-esque, but nothing is Goblin except Goblin. But I will say, if you want a paranormal romance, with a non-human hero and a human heroine that's pretty light on the emotion, I would go for My Love from the Star. Because
okay, yeah. I'll say, except I didn't hate that one.
I know you didn't. And we liked My Love from the Star a lot. With
villain, it's a similar kind of villain, though.
A very similar kind of villain, which we will get to. This drama does have the worst kind of villain, and we'll get to that. Very similar. I feel like I brought that up. But it reminded me of the brother like twisting his ring. But yeah. So yeah, very light. Silly kind of villain. Sadly, I hate when that happens. I like villains who have depth, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, my Love from the Star. Yeah. Okay. This is. I think that we're gonna start getting into like some hot button stuff here. And some of these questions I wrote before I even knew that Leah hated this, so we'll see how it goes. So Jung-won used to be human, but has been a demon for 200 years now and pretty much identifies as all demon. He grants you a wish.
His identity is all
Yes,
demon.
his identity is full demon. He grants you a wish in exchange for your soul, which will send you to hell. But he doesn't come to collect for 10 years. So what you wish for, you get, and you get to reap the benefits of that wish for 10 years. Of course, everyone signs the magical contract and then tries to reason with Guan a decade later when he comes to collect, but they always lose. Do you think there's any wish worth selling your soul to the devil?
I mean, I'm not even going to go for the low-hanging fruit of like BTS Suga putting his finger in my mouth, getting to like have barricade seats. I mean, like tempting. However, they show hell, and hell is a fiery pit of torture hell. So I don't think I would actually like, no, I don't want that. Here is where I need to be very careful threading the line. I'm just going to speak hypothetically. If I had a child suffering and dying of horrible, painful disease, yeah, probably I would do it.
I agree. And again, like Leah said, like low hanging fruit. Like it's very easy to be like, I want this, I want that. Like grant my wish. And then in 10 years, I mean, 10 years is quick. Like 10 years goes by so fast, which we saw in this drama. Like these people are shocked that 10 years is up. They're like, what do you mean it's time for me to go? I'm not ready. They're like hiding. But yes, there were some instances in this drama where it was to save the life of a child or to save the life of someone that they loved. And that I can understand. I mean, Guwan is a very attractive demon. And I mean, I might sign on the dotted line for less
Right.
if he's the one making me sign, but I don't think there's anything other than the life of a loved one, because it's like, that's really great that I was at barricade for BTS or whoever. And then in 10 years, he comes to collect. I'm not ready.
Yeah, 10 years is a very short time. I don't think, like, even if all of your wildest dreams come true for those 10 years, that is a blip on the radar of life for many people. And I agree. If it was to save the life of a loved one, absolutely. There are, especially my children, I definitely, put my life before theirs. But yeah, I mean, except for a couple of key like moments in this drama, almost everyone is just like greedy for money. And they're like, make me rich and, powerful. And they get that for 10 years and they're like, what? No, I have to go to hell? Yeah, you do.
And I have a question because like, I don't know if it wasn't clear or maybe I missed it. Mr. Park, his like
Pak
right
Buk
hand.
You?
Yeah. Just like the best.
I love the name. We'll get to that.
But Mr. Park, I'll just call him Mr. Park for right now. Is Mr. Park currently in a 10-year cycle? Because I feel like Mr. Park has had a lot of 10-year cycles. So did he just like re-up his 10-year cycle? Like he just re-signs every time and he's like, I'll just sign.
I think we need to save this for the spoiler. This is part of the quibbles that I will be unpacking.
Because I don't know about that either. Because I forgot that he's been around forever.
Because I think what it is it's called bullshit.
Because if you can do it for okay, we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, we'll get there.
Yeah, but I call that paranormal bullshit tree.
Okay, well, let's talk about something that you did like before you didn't like the drama, Leah, because you brought this up to me, so I wanted to give you a chance to talk about it, which is Guwan's room of clocks, which represents all of his contracts and, the clocks ticking on them. What did you think of that room when you first saw it?
Stunning. I mean, it's still probably my favorite part of the drama was just how beautiful it was, how kind of like eerie it is. I liked when like time was up for at least the baddies or people who'd made bad choices. Your clock goes and then like your clock dissolves into fire because you're off to burn in a hell pit forever. This is like Old Testament hell, like hardcore. Like, we're not talking about like the Catholic circles of hell. Like, this is not Dante's Inferno where like you're going to either be like the purgatory baby floating around in kind of like a mildly cool, temperate, bleak land at the very outside, like the unbaptized babies kind of hang out in that area. We're talking like they go straight to like,
yeah, this is like the Hell Bridge in Tale of the Nine-Tailed. Like,
yeah. There's no like, oh, no, you're just going right into
there's no medium place. There's no good place,
No.
bad place, medium place. It's just hell.
No, it's just fucking hell.
Yeah. Fiery.
And so that's a bummer, but I was able to get past that part of it for the beauty of the clocks. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen it, Guwon has this office, and then there's like this, these doors that open to this room of like seemingly infinite clocks. Like, I don't know how, like, where this ceiling comes from, because like these clocks go on forever, and obviously there's, some magic going on, but it's visually stunning. And so that's something that I will point out, because with the goblin, the hating on the goblin comparisons, and I don't know if this is totally accurate or not, because I don't remember where I read it, but I read that Goblin and My Demon shared a cinematographer, which would make some sense as to why some of the imagery was similar. But the clocks I thought was really unique. Although it did kind of remind me of Reaper's tea shop. It had that kind of feel to me.
Yeah, very much.
I think it was like the colors and just kind of like dark and like mysterious. And I don't know, I kind of like watching him walk in the room with the clocks, because it's like you look at the clock and you don't know whose clock it is, but it's like he knew. And so he is like watching like, oh, there's only X amount of time on this one and only X amount of time on that one. And I just thought that was really interesting. And it was kind of an interesting take on his contracts, because, I mean, this isn't a spoiler, but when you sign a contract and he gives it to you, once he takes the contract back, it like burns away.
Oof. Yeah.
Like it disappears. So it was like, oh, well, how does he keep track of all these people? Well, everybody has on a timetable and has a clock, and it's beautiful, and the styling is great. But I mean, Goblin's Tea Shop is way better.
Okay. So last episode, we talked about tropes, specifically the tropes of fake relationship and marriage of convenience, both of which play a part in My Demon. Without, giving, we can stay spoiler free here, but there's still some things we can bring up. If you like a little stuff that I put in parentheses, we can talk about that. Do you think that these tropes of fake relationship and marriage of convenience, because they do both, serve a good purpose in the drama?
Yes, because the drama, like, if I just say a spoiler-free, like, hot take on how I personally experienced this drama was, this is good, this setup is good, this concept is good, this high, like, if you were going to high concept pitch this, okay, I'm turning in a book tonight, like a book I've written, to my editor, and this is always like a fraught period for me. Because I'll feel like, okay, you got this book, you acquired it based on a high concept pitch I gave you. And then I basically was like, here's the premise, here it all is. And you're like, ooh, it's all feeling good, it's fun. What I don't want to ever have happen is what happened to me in watching this, where I'm like, this is good. And then I like see a little bit and I'm like, yeah, I'm liking it. Like, this is good. I like the setup. I like this trope. I think the tropes are working all well. And then to me, it got kind of mid. And I was like, this is really just kind of like dragging out a little bit, but like, it's still okay. Like, I'm not unhappy. I'm just kind of like, I'm not at the edge of my seat. Some dramas are just going to be like, oh, I'm enjoying it. Fine. But like, it's not going to change my life. It's pretty. And the concept still is holding enough for me. And then you hit that like, oh no, the whole thing just fell completely apart and it's all horrible. So, I mean, it's my worst nightmare personally as an author to like give that to my editor. And if she comes back and is like, so by the time I got to the end, I fucking hated everything and everyone in this book, I'm going to be like, actually, I'll be like, you know what? I can fix that. I can do what My Demon did not do, which is I can fix it.
Well, lucky for you, Leah, we do have episodes. We have an episode somewhere on our calendar for rewriting an ending. And I feel like you should probably take this one. But agree, like, you can have a very high concept that sounds like a fantastic idea and then have no idea how to really execute on it well. There's also the fact that, you know, many of these live dramas are being written as the episodes are coming out, and all you know is you have that high concept premise, and then you have 16 plus hours to fill. And it's like, how are we going to keep that going? And I think that a lot of dramas have a hard time doing that, keeping the story going. And we do get to a saggy middle, but no, I'm not defending this one, but because I agree with where some of this fell apart.
Oh, so what I'm saying is the saggy middle, like, look, I could accept it. Like, I was kind of like, man, it's a little saggy.
I know it didn't stick the landing, right?
We could have just sagged the whole way out. We could have just like not stuck the landing, like, no, we didn't not stick the landing, my friends. We did not stick like we made active choices
that Megan and I were just like, meh.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, I could have handled, like, I was expecting us to just kind of like, meh, slide out. And I'd be like, yeah, it was all right. I mean, like, yeah, whatever. So it's fine. I didn't expect them to be like, no, let's make it fucking horrible.
She is furiously texting me as she's watching the last episode. She's like, don't even fucking tell me that this is what's happening. And I'm like, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
So, I mean, like, yeah, it wasn't a slide. It was like, let's make some conscious choices.
I would just add that I like fake dating, marriage contract tropes. I love that. I love forced proximity. Those are like some of my favorites. What I will say though is in the beginning, she actually told everyone that he was the bodyguard. And so I was kind of wondering if I was going to go towards that. And then it was like, oh, fake dating. And then it was like marriage contract, which I'm fine with all of those if it fits the drama. And I think that this fit in really well. Because I think it really highlighted their chemistry and it brought some comedy, into the rom-com part of it because he's kind of a mess around her and she's kind of a mess around him. Like it's like working towards their chemistry together. And so I just thought that was helpful. To me, their chemistry and their interaction together is why I tuned in every week to watch the 2 episodes drop because, I will admit there were some parts of it that I just kind of skipped, like fast forward 10 seconds, because I just wanted to see the 2 of them together and I just wanted to know how it ended. And I didn't have the same reaction as Leah, but I mean, I got to the end and, here we are. So.
Yeah, I will say I like the tropes. I was excited for the bodyguard part of it. I'm like, yes, like we've been talking about like wanting like a bodyguard romance, but that ended really quickly because of what was written into the story, which was that she had to get married in order to become CEO. And that's not a huge spoiler. Like that happens pretty early on. And so then, yeah, that added some great comedy. Their marriage was funny because it was like a complete contract marriage. And like, I thought the wedding was like really funny. I love, like cause he was still like disdainful demon at that point. And like the fact when she tried to get him to like pose as her boyfriend, like, or pose as her fiance, and she's like, I'm going to marry him. And he was like, not interested. And it was really funny to see him go from that to like total puppy dog was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So the tropes worked for me. I really liked the bodyguard portion of it. And wish that would have lasted a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Oh well.
Oh well, oh well. Okay, so we already brought him up. Let's talk about him. Mr. Park, as we say with our American accent, Guwon's right-hand man, has a name that is played for laughs because the way that you pronounce it is Pak Buk-yu. And people are, every time he introduces himself, they think that he's swearing at them. And he's like, Buk-yu, Buk-yu. Lowbrow humor or funny?
I thought it was funny. And I especially thought it was funny that, Dodo, his assistant, really like played into it in the beginning. And she purposely got his name wrong. And I just thought that was funny because they really didn't like each other, which was great. It just as the drama goes on. But I just thought it was funny that, like, yes, every time he met a new person, that's what they would say. But she really picked up on it and she really held tight to that name. And any chance she got, she said it. And it was pretty funny.
I mean, yes, I thought he was funny enough. It's not my like favorite kind of humor, but like he's cute. Here's my quibble with it is less the humor and more that I feel like I didn't need the 40s second leads. Like, why do we have to make it like buffoonery? Like, I just
that's a
why
good
can't
point.
they
That's
just
a good
like
point.
And so I think that was it more. Like, I don't mind if he was lighthearted and funny and kind of slapsticky, if he could have had something that felt slightly tender. It felt like the romance was so cartoonish to me. And like the actress is 48 in real life. He's 45 in real life. They're
not
again,
old
we're
people.
just in the,
yeah.
and even if they're old people, like old people aren't buffoons. And so like, we're not in like the unsea of sexual desirability. Like, I'm like, let them have, I wish they could have had just like it be a little bit less of a joke that they were like finding something with each other. Like it could have been like kind of funny and then sweet. I just needed something that made it feel like they weren't just a fucking joke. But I mean, this is not why I'm mad.
Yeah, no,
like,
but I agree. Like
their
whole romance was played for laughs.
Yeah. It what made it mid for me as opposed to hating it.
And I would just add that it's kind of not sad, but like disappointing because, Destined with You, right? That's the Rowoon that we watched. Isn't that what it was called? They had a secondary couple that was more middle-aged. They were younger than both Amy and I.
I mean, it was crazy. Yeah.
And they did play it up for middle age, but while they were a little slapstick, they did have heart in that relationship. And that was a really fun one to watch. So I had some high hopes for this couple just because I'm always excited to see older, quote unquote, older, secondary leads fall in love because I don't know that, K-drama really plays up on that. Like I have yet to see a really good drama where the leads are a little bit older. I did watch 39, which 39, I'm way past that. But 39 was great up to a certain point because it did highlight love in your quote unquote middle age or older leads. But I agree. Like this was just kind of like this couple was a little too slapstick. Like I agree. Like it was fun and it was played for laughs, but I would have liked to see a little bit more heart.
Yeah, I agree with the Destined with You. It was still played for comedy, but they did give them a little bit more depth to that. I think a drama that does a little bit better of a job with, I hate like saying older because I'm talking about people like in my age range, but does a little bit older with like a secondary older romance is Alchemy of Souls. I think that they do a little bit better job there. Yeah. I like that. And
yeah, I would have liked to have seen just like some tenderness, like
yes.
funny, and then just like a moment of real vulnerability that I'm like, oh, they actually do. Yeah, exactly like the Alchemy of Souls, where there's some moments where you're like, oh, but it's kind of real. Even if they still like,
they still were comic relief.
Have people, yeah, why can't we just have people who are over 28?
Look, I just went back to Love to Hate You. Because of course I love Uteo now after past lives. And I'm like, thank you for a, 40 plus man. Like, I mean, he's like 42, but like, thank you for like a mature hero who is gorgeous and like having a leading romance and not, making him the funny older man. And same with the second lead. Oh my God, what's his name from Flower of Evil? Oh my gosh, blanking right now. But he's older too, and I'm like, yeah, these like let's give like the women in that age category though too the same consideration because our heroine is not that old. But still, like yes, people in their 40s are not buffoons. I speak from experience. So there you go.
Mm.
Thanks for that, Leah.
Welcome.
Okay, so before we get to our K-pop rec and our spoiler section, I just want to ask if anybody else gets the flutters when Jungwon says "Nodohi."
He could read the tax code to me and I would get the flutters, if I'm being honest. But also I just love that he always used her government name, which I just thought was hysterical, like no matter what. And I can't remember, but I don't think he really even used like nicknames for her, right?
It was always Dodohi.
Yeah.
No.
So I loved it.
It's a fun name. I loved her name.
Yeah. And he gets
me too.
he could say it and be so like serious or scared, or he just really turned on the dramatics with her name. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's a part that I really love with that we can get to later. Cause I think there's a part where I ask about like favorite moments or favorite scenes. And that was one of them for me. But yeah, I mean, he's got a very deep voice and he uses that voice well.
We are now moving to our spoiler section. So if you are still here, you either have watched My Demon or you've decided that you're not going to, but you want to hear some of us like it and some of us hate it.
I mean, maybe this is, if you haven't watched it, you want to see if Megan and I are going to sell you on it or if Leah's going to sell you on not watching it. And I don't think, I mean, like, I enjoyed the drama. I'm not here to say you must watch it, though. It's not one of those that, like, I came away from saying, oh my God, everybody has to see this. I do feel that way about Destined with You, and I'm still upset that you and Megan won't watch that one. But, it's all right.
I might. I'm not against it. It's just there's so many dramas.
I just don't understand how Rowoon can't be top on everybody's list. I don't. I brought that up.
I mean, nobody likes my shit. Nobody watches my dramas. Nobody likes my people.
Wait a minute. Because I did watch Fated to Love You and I loved it.
Okay. I mean, that's not in my top 5, but yes, thank you.
And I have watched almost everything in your top 5 except for All of Us Are Dead. Right?
Have you watched Me Sang?
Almost all the way.
Okay.
And I didn't hate it. I just left it because other things were happening. So there.
So you weren't compelled to finish it.
No, I'm not. Look, I'm not calling you out, Megan. And actually, you have a drama that you keep recommending me that I keep forgetting that I need to watch, which is the priest one. I swear it's a priest one. It's an old one. Why am I thinking there's a priest involved?
It's You're Beautiful. It's not a priest.
Yes.
But so it's called You're Beautiful, and it is, sorry for the sidebar, but it's really funny because it's like Boys Over Flowers old, like way before. And Park,
unfuckably old.
Yeah, that old. No, but
everybody in the drama must be in their late 30s by now.
No, because what's her name is in it? Park Shin-hye.
So like 34.
Yeah. Anyway, she plays she's in like seminary school. She's going to the convent to be a nun. She has a twin brother who is so she is studying to be a nun in a convent. Her twin brother is about to debut as an idol, and he has an accident and he has to go to the United States to have like total face surgery. And if the manager doesn't get this idol to debut, like everybody loses their job, the makeup artist, the clothes, like everybody's losing out. So they go and pluck her out of this convent to play her twin brother.
Oh, that's fantastic.
In an idol group. And it is so bad, it's good. It has to be one of her first dramas. All the other people in the drama, I don't think I've seen them in anything else. And I got it wrecked from like, I don't know, someone on Instagram. And I thought it looked interesting because the way they are styled, they're styled in like debut BTS. So she looks like debut JK. And I was like, well, I have to watch this. Like, I have to see how this works out. And it's so bad, it's good. That's all I'm going to say. It's so bad, it's good. But anyway, I have watched some of Leah's dramas in my defense.
You have. I was never calling you out though.
Just me. That's okay. We like what we like and we can't help it. Okay. We've kind of already talked about this, but like, let's just start with the courtship between Guwon and Do-hee. Did you think they had good chemistry? Did you have a favorite romantic moment between them before you hated the drama? Or didn't hate the drama?
I liked their meet. I thought their meet was cute. I liked the cake. I liked the kind of like hate to love you, like have to be connected to you. Up until about episode 5 or 6, I thought it was cute and promising. I will say he has a like one of those bodies. It's like Emma Stone's quote from Crazy Stupid Love, where like Ryan Gosling takes his shirt off and she's like, "You photoshopped?" Like he's got like a Photoshop.
You look photoshopped, yeah.
I will say though that when they had like their sexy times and like he got his shirt off and he was all just like perfectly beautiful, I felt pretty much nothing. I was like, so that's where I feel like the chemistry went off. Like not nothing that like he wasn't selling it to me. I just felt like their chemistry to me, I was just kind of like meh, like I wasn't feeling it. By the time we got to sexy time, I was like C+ interested.
I liked their chemistry. I thought they had really good chemistry. What I really enjoyed was how clingy he became to her and how he was like very demanding. And one of my like favorite things that he did like mid drama is that he just started referring to himself as her husband. Like, I'm her husband. I'm her husband. I just thought that was really cute. And I thought they were spicy together, Leah, but I understand what you're saying because this is my quibble with most dramas is that the male lead will always take off his shirt and the female lead is still fully clothed. And listen, I get it. There's probably some censorship things, whatever, but it's just really hard for me to really believe 100% because the girlfriend has her buttons buttoned all the way to the top and he's just skin. So like sometimes I have a hard time with that, but I did enjoy them together and I did enjoy their chemistry. And I thought he was really cute when he finally caved and had that golden retriever energy.
Yeah, I thought they had good chemistry too. I enjoyed the sexy times. I didn't think it was super spicy. It was, I mean, like, look, I'm still high off of the cotton candy kiss in Destined with You. Like that. Like nothing's going to top that for me for a really long time. But I will say where I thought their chemistry really shined early on was in the tango scene. I fucking loved the tango scene. So
okay, yes, the tango scene, I forgot about it. That was probably the best part of the drama, and I'd forgotten.
Yeah, because it was like episode 4. I want to say it was pretty early. So if you haven't seen the drama or you don't remember the tango scene, so one of the big things that happens here is that Guwon loses his powers. Right, they somehow get transferred to Do-hee, and he can only use his powers when he's touching her, and he is being chased by like a whole like mob of bad guys who want to make him pay for killing their boss who had made a deal with him or whatever. And he's getting the shit kicked out of him because he has no powers because Do-hee is nowhere, they're not by each other. And she chases after him and finds him and comes to his protection and runs up to him so that he can grab her wrist and recharge. I love when they call it recharging. Like, I freaking loved that. I thought that was so sweet. Like, especially when they just be laying in bed and he's like, I'm just recharging. Like, I loved it. But he recharged, got his powers, and then he beat the shit out of all these baddies as they're tango dancing. And it was gorgeous. It was like, really colorful. Like the cinematography was fantastic. Like, say what you will about like anything that's like a Goblin ripoff on here. The tango was its own thing and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
The recharging was cute because that's kind of how in the beginning when I feel like he started to develop feelings for her. That was his excuse to be like around her. He'd be like, oh, I need to recharge. And she's like, again, you just recharged. It's like, no, I'm depleted. Let me recharge. That was very cute.
Yes, I loved it. The recharging was great. Okay. So Do-hee and Gu-won have a past life connection. What do you think of this storyline? And did it play well into the present day relationship between Gu-won and Do-hee? And this is where I'm just going to throw out there, and I'm coming from, like, I'm not a very religious person, like, at all. And the past life connection has a lot to do with, like, Christianity and, early belief in Christianity, and how people were punished for that. His tattoo, where all his power is a cross. Like, there's a cross connection between them. And I will say, at least from the standpoint of somebody being who, not super religious, I still was very, like, into this storyline, and I thought it was pretty powerful. But anyway, what did you guys think about their past life connection?
Well, I'm not surprised you got sucked into some of the religious trappings of it, simply because part of, like, the parts of the Christianity theme that they wrapped in it's like the theatrical bits.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they kind of brought in that. Functionally speaking, it makes absolutely no sense.
And
for
see, I would
Demon
not know
to have a cross on his wrist.
I would not know. Like, I would not know.
And they never make it make sense.
Yes.
Again, I could have lived without it. I felt like there was much that was coming to be explained with the religious imagery and the religious parts, because I was raised Catholic, and there was, like, a lot of the Catholicism, like him at the beginning going into the church. Like, I felt like we were going to see some, like, full circle. I don't think that I was going to see, like, Jesus come and, like, let people out of hell, but I was expecting there to be a little bit more of an explanation. Because, like, okay, we have homeless God just chilling the whole time, like, desperately needing a fucking tooth cleaning and a facial, like, to the point that I was like, I'm sorry, it's just,
I don't know why they had to do that. Like, I don't.
And then to just be like, beyond that, let's just have her wear that hat that says good with the O rubbed out, so it's God, because really,
in case you don't get it,
it's we just need to really.
And this is Cha Chung-wha that we're talking about too. Like, just in case, like, she's amazing. She's amazing. Like, whether you put, like, disgusting false teeth on her or not. Yeah.
Underused. Yeah.
Even her voice, she had to talk in that, like, totally abrasive, like,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a god and I'm a homeless person in the subway. I love to live in my box.
Like, I thought we were going to see, like, that for a bit. Like, okay, God's, like, having some fun, just doing her thing. And then we're going to, like, see some other stuff God's up to. Nah.
Well, when he met with her at the bar.
We see God be fancy. Okay.
No, but
like,
I'm
2 seconds, she's, like, randomly beautiful.
Well, no, when he met with her at the bar, what I thought she was saying is, like, she was saying, like, you don't recognize me or something. And then the camera, like, it does, like, a wipe of her going from, like, her homeless getup to this beautiful cocktail dress. And
right.
And so what I thought, what I thought was going to happen was, once he recognized her as God, that we would see her in the beautiful cocktail dress for the rest of the drama. But no, we saw her sleeping in a box.
No, I thought we'd see just, like, many facets of God.
Yes.
And they were like, the budget, we've used too much of the budget on the sword dancing, which I liked. I liked the sword dancing. Like, too much of it, yes, but I mean, it was beautiful. But at that point, they're like, no, God, this is God. Like, God's got one, like, we're just gonna make God a one-trick pony. But, I mean, like, there was just a lot of stuff where it was like, ooh, this is going to be interesting. And then it's not. Like, we've got the demon book of, like, all the demon lore and, like, what you're going to be and, like, your how to be a demon guide. Nah, that went literally nowhere. They, like, take the book at one point. Meh. Nothing real. Like, it's just like, what? Like, why are you giving me all this? Like, we have God, we've got the devil, we've got this, like, mysterious cross tattoo, we have fucking hell, we've got the room of clocks, we got this book of lore of the demon. We know that, like, in the past she was, like, killed for having this faith because they wanted to cross boundaries of society. Meh. Like, it's just like, let's not worry about, like, let's set it all up, make it very compelling, and then be like, and let's not worry about
They really did miss the boat on that, because they had so much going with all of the the religious lore that they could have played that up and not like there was enough conflict of him being a demon, her being a human, that we didn't need much of the other silly villainy that we will get to.
Yeah, they're like, but let's get to what we don't have enough of is the boardroom and the sugary beverage company stock prices.
Okay, so I have a question because you guys are both in publishing. And so I feel like there's always trends that happen. And so a few years ago, I read like 3 books in a row, and they were by authors that are normally like either women's fiction, like modern women's fiction, or like romance. And they kind of went a little outside of their normal range and were doing like murder mystery. And it was about the time where it was like after Girl on the Train and after like these kind of like psychological mystery books. So I always wonder like, oh, do publishers say, hey, this year, this is like a trend that's happening. Maybe we should jump on this trend. And maybe it doesn't happen all the time, but it just like, there were like 3 people, I read their books, and all 3 had like this kind of addition of like a murder mystery.
So yes and no, because usually when you notice something is trending, by the time you get somebody to put out a new book on that trend is over. But it can happen. It can happen. If if something's hot and your publisher's like, I know you could write this. It can.
So the only reason why I bring that up is because 3 of the dramas I watched in 2023 going into 2024 all had a historical subplot where the male lead is from the past coming into the future. The female lead has also a past life that crosses. And there is a murder subplot involved that make you think that the male lead killed the female lead.
Yes.
It happened in See You in My 19th Life. It happened in Destined with You. And it happened in this one, My Demon. So this question just really made me think about that because, again, sometimes I see the patterns happen in more than one drama, but I was just really taken aback that like the last 3 really talked about really popular dramas, probably because who was in them, the lead characters, like the actors and actresses, it was very highly touted, like popular dramas they were talked about. But all 3 of those had the same kind of historical subplot, which I don't hate. But in this particular drama, I feel like the only reason it was there was really to explain how he became a demon. And like, they could have told us that in the first episode.
Yeah.
Honestly. And me personally did not need Dodo Hee to be Wolshim. I think that's how you say her name, from the past. Like, I didn't really need, because I'm sure Leah's going to get into all the times that he kind of touched her life, like her life, I guess, from all her past lives. So while I think it fit in and it was really pretty and it kind of explained why his foundation was really into this like sword dancing, because he was like on the lookout, like he just had this past love that did sword dancing. That kind of explained it. But like, they could have told me in episode 1 why he became a demon, and I would have been like, okay, cool, great.
I do feel like the reason they made that connection is that it kind of fits why she might have been able to absorb his powers, is because of that. That's the only reason. You know what I mean? Like, why did that happen with her rather than anybody else that he came across in 200 years? But agree with like that conceit of did the hero kill the heroine in a past life in 3 very recent dramas? I think it's easier to see that happen in a drama because they are written on the fly rather than, books that are written, at least 6 months to a year before they're published. So it's harder to, to jump on a trend in a book, but with a drama that's being written as you go, I think that you can see something in a drama and be like, ooh, I want to use that when I get to this episode.
And I will say the books, I'm not going to say who the authors are, but I will say those books came out a little past the trend. So that's why I noticed it, because I was like,
yeah, that is trying to jump on a trend. Yeah.
yes. And so for the writers, since we're not naming names on books, but what I will say is probably also with writers too, is we often get pigeonholed into the books that we are expected to write when we're published. So it could be like, you are only going to write big chicken vampires. I'm just trying to think of something like I don't know, just something random. Like, you write big chicken vampires. Your whole thing is roosters who are vampires. Everyone reads you in that. That's what we know you to be. So when there's this thing of all of a sudden, it's like, oh, there's this kind of like dark noir trend potentially. And you've always been like, oh, I kind of like writing other things, but I've been writing this like chicken vampire thing for a long time. Fuck yeah. Like, this might be my chance to like be out. That's where I think we see sometimes the idea that, like, in some ways it's like chasing trends, but in some ways you're like looking for like tools for your own liberation.
Absolutely.
In traditional publishing.
Absolutely.
Okay, but now I want big chicken vampire.
Seriously.
Chicken vampires. Chickens who are like, bark, bark, bitches. I don't know.
Okay, we got to get to the villain. Okay, because, oh my goodness.
Hey.
So we've discussed our favorite villains on the pod before, and one thing that we've all agreed on is that a good villain is not a caricature. They have depth, a good backstory, and they aren't evil just for evil's sake. No Suk-min, played by Kim Tae-hoon, is the real villain behind all of the attempts on Do-hee's life. He's responsible for his own mother's death, his son's death, and he himself can't seem to die, no matter what happens to him. But the ultimate question is this: good villain or caricature villain?
Oh, I mean, he was a very bad villain.
The worst.
It was
the worst.
I was expecting. So here's the thing: is that like, and this isn't even still. We're not even at the part why I hate the drama yet. So these are just like my quibbles.
I know.
So, okay, so my quibble here is that there was a while where I thought the drama was just going to come in a lot smarter than it was. And so I was expecting, like, again, like the religious allegory stuff to kind of weave together in some interesting way. And then I thought with the villain, here's how off base I was. I think I even told you, Amy, at one point. I was like, I think the villain might actually be Joo Suk-hoon, like the second male lead cinnamon roll. Because I was like, everyone else is so cartoonishly horrible.
Yeah.
It has to be that guy because everyone else is like too obviously evil. No, that's not true.
Well, and
the bad guy is the bad guy.
well, and there was that part where she ties his tie in the back of a car. And then the way that episode ends, he's like looking at the tie, he's like touching it, like rubbing it on his face. And I was like, oh, he's the one. Second male lead, like he's the killer. He's going to kill the
Red herringed him big time. Yeah. And
yeah, so I was very feeling that.
And I mean, it was just, aside from him just being a total like cartoonish caricature, we had this really creepy killer at first. Like this guy who like was, a makeup artist actor who like would make fake faces and shit. And so they couldn't, because like,
and had bodies in the fridge, and so many bodies in the fridge.
And the only way that Gu-won can find you is by seeing your face. And so Gu-won never was able to find this guy because he was wearing a fake face all the time. And then he nervously scratches the skin off the back of his neck. Like, it was just creep-tastic. And I was like, this has to be going somewhere good. No, he's just a killer for hire who gets burned alive.
I mean, I feel like they kind of borrowed.
I forgot about him even. When you were talking about the burning, like there's more burning. I'm like, who? I forgot. There was like a whole half of the drama with like first burn victim killing.
And I mean, again, this drama does borrow from a lot of other dramas because that first killer for hire is very strong woman Do Bong Soon. There's a whole killer in that they wear a mask the entire time. That's why nobody can find him. So, like, again,
and look,
we're just borrowing.
Like, right. And I will say, as a writer, like, I am not faulting writers for, picking up on a trope or picking up on an idea, like we're talking about like the past lives connection. We say that over and over again. If something works, we use it. And I've done that too. Like, if I've seen something that worked in something that I read, I try and think of a way that I can refashion that and use it in a book that I write because it's a good idea and it worked. And that's my tropes are tropes because they work. And so that's why so many of my books are second chance romances, because second chance romance is something that I like and it works for my stories, you know? So not like, you know, there's, you know, the old adage that there is no, you know, 100% original idea, but like I haven't seen Strong Women Do Bong Soon, so I didn't know that. Like that's a huge similarity from a very popular drama too. So it's, you know,
A face-off. I mean, come on. There's always a face-off somewhere. We love a face-off.
You've never seen Face
I
Off.
also think,
I have not.
I also think,
But I've written a book with them. Sorry, I have a book. I wrote a book with Amy.
With me. I'm like, we wrote a book.
Where our villain does
Like
a
Mission
face-off.
Impossible pulls the face off. Yeah.
Yeah, like what? Let's face off. It's fine. It's
No,
fine.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's fine. But like, if it's going to make you, if it's a call out to another drama that's like that strong, then it's just going to make you remember that other drama. And then you're going to compare the two. Like people are doing with Goblin in this one.
I was just going to say the baddie's son was a way better baddie, in my opinion, and had more boo-boos to be a baddie than
Yes.
Daddy Baddie.
Daddy Batty was dumb. Daddy Batty he was already
Daddy Batty
rich. He just wanted to be CEO. This is all about just wanting to be CEO, which
And
here's
here's my thing.
I don't, go ahead.
Okay, you fall off a clock tower from the top.
Like
Into
really high up,
apparently a
like
river.
Empire State Building high.
Yeah. So you fall. There's no explanation to how you have lived, but you fall in 100.
Like you
stories,
should be a
let's say.
bag of marbly bones.
Yeah. And they can't find you because apparently there's a river down there. I never saw the river, so I was a little confused, but they're like, he fell in the river. No. Well, I don't know. He must have because
And swam
but it
to
doesn't matter.
safety.
Yeah. So he gets out, we see. I mean, this is a more strenuous quibble. I could still live with it. It was boring, but like surprising. Was he, I mean, like when you can't find the body, you're like,
You
fuck,
know,
the guy's alive.
he's alive. Like nobody's even doubting that he's alive.
But there's nothing like I was like, ooh, is like some like paranormal aspect coming into play here. No, he just somehow fucking lives after falling 100 stories that he decides he's going to die. He's like, I'm going to hell. Surprise. No, he's not. But then when he lands, he's like, well, I'm still going to get my revenge because this is literally all I got that I care about now because like my reputation's ruined. My son's killed himself. I've killed my mom. I mean, I'm just a fucking bad guy. I'm going to walk to the closest homeless encampment, which of course has a garbage fire going in like a tin garbage because yes. And I'm just going to be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to burn the shit out of my face so the demon can't see me. And I'm going to do it while I'm doing my evil laugh. Like, I'm going to burn my face. Now I've got you. Okay, great.
And then I'm going to be fine.
I almost thought that maybe he was going to be a demon because he killed the book.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for that.
Yeah. No, the book, no one did shit with the book.
We kept looking for this book that never mattered.
They were like, huh.
And then he was kind of like, he was only half concerned. He's like, oh, my book's not, like my How to Be a Demon book is gone. And then it's like, well, clearly somebody's going to do something fucking crazy with the book. No, and then he gets it back and he's like, no, my book's back. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, if we were to turn Suckman into a demon, that would have been amazing. Like demon
like,
against
I thought that's
demon
for
villain.
sure. I thought,
Be like, you want to be a
but
real
like
villain?
a
Here you go,
bad
dude.
devil. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for that. Like, I was kind of waiting for that showdown between the two of them for like, someone to be damned to hell forever.
Yeah. Yeah, to be the devil.
Okay. So the big reveal, and we're finally going to let Leah get into it here. The big reveal that affects all aspects of Do-hee's existence is this. Before Do-hee was born, her parents were in an accident. Do-hee's mother, pregnant with Do-hee at the time, was dying, and Do-hee's father couldn't get her to a hospital. Gu-won magically appears, and Do-hee's father makes a deal with him to save his wife and thereby also saving her unborn child. Do-hee learns of this, that her father didn't die because of the car accident like her mother did, but because Gu-won showed up and collected on their deal. Her father survived the car accident only to be killed by a heart attack. Because that's how Gu-won kills you. So now I must first state, before I let Leah run with this, that one of the rules of being a demon is that Gu-won cannot bring people back from the dead, or else he will spontaneously combust. So, with this rule in place, that still doesn't really make sense.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for the logic there.
Yeah. No, what are your thoughts on Do-hee not only forgiving Gu-won for damning her father to hell, but also claiming that he saved her twice, referring to her existence as Wolshim in their past lives as well? Even though he didn't save her in their past life because he got there too late.
Not even a little bit. But go ahead, Megan. You can have it first.
So my issue with it is that on the one hand, I totally accept that he saved her while she was in utero. Great. Him saving her when she was Wolshim, like I feel like it was more of like we were supposed to just make the connection that he like saved her soul because they were going to become Christians, I believe.
And she was going to kill herself. Like that's the only thing we found out from getting her point of view is that she was going to take her own life, and then she met him because she was a concubine. She was a concubine.
Yes, but my quibble, which I kind of forgot about because I'm like such a it's Song Kang, so I was like he could do no wrong. But like one of my quibbles is he did save her because she got shot with a shotgun.
So,
right?
Okay, so here's like as I was trying to look stuff up to remember stuff about this, that's another sort of funny part of the ending, even though I was emotional in the moment. Yeah, she steps in front of the shotgun because Sukmin has a shotgun, and she steps in front of Gu-won, who is immortal and would not have died had he been sprayed with the shotgun pellets. So there, I found like a lot of funny discussions of people being like, why did she even jump in front of him? He would have been fine. But the reason why he ended up disintegrating is because he did bring her back.
Yes. And okay. The other thing about I don't even know. Like I just
like can they have a happy do you think they can have a happy relationship with her knowing that he sent her father to hell? Because that's what Leah's going to argue against.
I mean, me personally, probably not. But Do-hee is really forgiving. And at some point in the drama, and I don't remember what part it was, but at some point in the drama, she really talks about you have to like keep going. Because I think that's what CEO Mama had told her. I can't remember the character's name, was like, why dwell on the past? You have to just keep going and like live in the future, which makes sense when you cause the accident that her parents friggin' died in. Obviously you want her to forget the past, but that's neither here nor there at this point. But I think for Do-hee, like her whole life has been moving forward. You can't let the past dictate what you're doing. So technically for her and her character, it makes sense that she'd be like, so you killed my dad anyway? Okay, I love you. Because that's how we get the HEA. And that's what we were supposed to get. Like, I think it was like just in the cards that we're going to get HEA and that no one was going to be like, wait a minute, stop the presses. Who would do this? So for me, it wasn't my biggest quibble. I just had the quibble about, wait a minute, how is he still a demon when he was just supposed to ash? He was supposed to like Voldemort ash away, goblin ash away, you know?
I have thoughts on that, but we'll let Leah do her thing now.
Go ahead.
No, because it kind of goes with my next question anyway. So just go ahead.
Okay, so I felt like when we got to 16, we were going to get some answers for some bad things that had happened. And instead, I felt like we didn't. And then we decided to double down on the moral bankruptcy. So in like Reddit or online spaces, there's like sometimes like those like things of like, am I the asshole? And there'll be a story and you're like, here's my story. Am I the asshole? And people will be like, yes, you're the asshole. No, you're the asshole. Or everybody's the asshole. In this case, everybody is the asshole. Because we've got Chairwoman Jung, who was doing dodgy things and didn't give a shit about anyone in the end and just wanted money. And we know that she basically contrived the accident that in part, at least killed Do-hee's mom. So Do-hee's mom dies because of Chairman Jung, who's like, then we're supposed to forgive Chairman Jung and like live whatever and deal with that. But I want to go to the deals of the devil, because the deals of the devil, like at first were presented with like, okay, we make deals with the devil when we're like bad people. Like, yes, there was the jokes with like Buck Yu, which was like he was starving and wanted fish. And so he was going to make a deal with the devil, although he never has a bill to pay, apparently. But like most people were like, I want something bad. Like I'm a gangster. Like, you know, I'm a bad person. I'm going to make a bad guy deal. And I kind of really thought that's what we were going to do. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Whatever. It's kind of like Ghost and the bad people go to hell. I'm not like a fire and brimstoner, but like I could live with that. We introduce a cancer kid in suffering pain, like actually suffering, distraught parents. And he's like, time to make the donuts, and like makes a deal with them. So I kind of felt like, okay, we're going to have something where at some point, like I wasn't expecting good people to suffer, but I was like, there's going to be an explanation somewhere. That explanation doesn't come. And then we find out, well, what's the bad deal that the dad made? Like the dad, was he like, I want to be rich. I want to own the company. I want to do something like shitty. The dad, there's like a mega pile car accident when the mom goes into labor. So they're walking from hospital and emergency room to hospital emergency room in the driving rain as she's like gripping her swollen belly, being like, oh, then she falls into a literal gutter, like on the road gutter, and is like dying kind of like a goblin mom death, just like, help me, I'm dying. And that's when, we have the demons show up and be like, do you want to make a deal? And the dad is just like, fucking whatever you need to do to save them. Like, I don't care. I don't care what it is, because they decide, oh, this is actually kind of problematic. So we probably shouldn't have him be like, well, here's your contract to go to hell in 10 years. So we have to like not actually dwell on that. We have to have him just be like, details, smeetails, like save them, please. So that's what brings about the death. What brings about the death is that he wants his unborn baby and his wife to live. And that's why the demon comes to collect on him 10 years later. The demon apparently has known this the whole time and has been like, well, there's never just been like a great time to tell you that.
I don't think he knew that she was their daughter at first.
I didn't think so either until the 16, when he was like, well, there's never really been a great time to tell you. And I was like, wait, so because he acted like he didn't know before. So this was like bad, right? Like they like shoehorned that part in. So he did actually know. But like, so that was also I was like, wait. Then I'm like, so you're telling me the dad who made that deal is actually in fucking hell forever? Like in that fire swamp? And that's where the cancer kid parents go? Like that's where everybody goes to hell? Like they're not just like dead and like get to go to like the God's homeless box in the sky. Like they're in fucking hell. And I was like, hang on a second. And then he's like, well, but you saved me. And I was like, wait a second. Like, if, let's say my kid, like, we get into a car accident, my kids are like writhing on the side of the road, like, mommy, help us. And a demon comes out and I'm like, fucking whatever. Save them. Just save them. I don't care what it takes. Just save them. And then they save them. If in 10 years the goblin comes and he's like, well, or the demon, I keep calling him the goblin. He's like, come on, we're going to hell. And then my kids find out about it later. Like my daughter Bronte finds out later. like, oh, the demon made a deal with my parent in their worst hour. It saved my life, though, and I love them. Let's make out, and we're now together forever. I guess we should just look forward, not backwards. And I'm in like a lake of fire with like my guts burning after all the bullshit you do as a parent in this world. And then she's like, well, I guess they knew that they had their 10 years with me, so that just made them love me all the more. I was like, get the fuck out of my face. Parenting is hard, thankless work, and I am not doing it. So I can end up having my asshole burn out daily in a ring of fire so my kid can go fuck a 6-packed demon, and no one's going to look for a goddamn loophole because there was a loophole. He burned up saving her, shows back up as like Immortal Demon, the sequel. He's ever like, gosh darn it. Like, he's like, oh, I guess I got to go like, yeah, like there's nothing at no point is he like, oh, like we're making some troubling deals and you're actually fucking God. Like I'm just a demon. Like he's not the devil. Like that's the other thing. It's like, he is not this all powerful devil. He's just
he's a
hack demon that's been around 200 years. Yeah. So we're never dealing with like a devil. We're never dealing with like the big power player. I'm like, you are like a low grade manager at best, maybe the bottom of middle management. And you are not escalating this up the appropriate ranks. Like you've decided to just be like, well, the bureaucracy is what it is. Whereas I'm like, no, you make a complaint and you change the system. And Dohi's just like, well, I guess I'm like, Dohi, you're going to start to, this feels good when you're like 24 and you're a CEO of a sugary drink company. When you're 34, you're going to start to be like, oh, this feels a little weirder. Like he's immortal and killing cancer kids. And I'm just like getting a little older. And then you're going to be like 45. Then you're going to be, But the fact that they just left the parents, like really, I was just like, no, this is like, that's when I went to hating it until like, I mean, I was hating it. I was yelling. And then we just decided to go one fucking bit further. Which is going to be the next question.
Well, no.
Because we were already morally bankrupt at that point.
Yeah, no. Well, okay. I don't know. So here's what I have next. I don't know if this is what you thought I was going for. So as the top member of the Kim Shin Goblin fan club, I obviously buy into romance stories between an immortal hero and mortal woman. But there are many aspects of my demon that hit different. Like, even if they did try to throw in some goblin callouts in the drama. But the one thing I can't get out of my head, which I think goes with what you are saying, Leah, is Dohi's horror when she was hiding in the clock room and accidentally witnesses Guwon collecting on a contract as the woman who made the deal with him a decade before begs for her life. And we see his, like, eyes grow cold and he's like, you know, you signed the contract. And at that point, my thought was the only way that this romance could have a happily ever after is if God makes him human. That would have changed everything for me.
But even if God makes him human, but if God makes him human,
and he gets to live
like,
out,
Dad is still fucking burning in the pit of hell.
Yes, Dad is still in hell. But yeah. I get what you're saying about him, like,
There's no happy ending. There's no happy ending if the dad and the cancer kid parents are in hell. And this is fiction. We are not bound by the laws of contract and reason. There are workarounds to workarounds. And the fact that they were like, I guess this is fine. And actually, she's like, like, we were meant to just have her be like, but you saved me, I guess. I was like, potatoes, like, didn't save the dad. Like, the dad's over here, like, I got a pretty bad deal with my anus burning.
I love it. You keep going back to anus burning. No, I get it.
Just when they showed the fire, when they showed just, like, how horrible it would be, I was like, you for the rest of eternity fucking just burn. Not because you're like a murderer, not because you hurt people, not because you were anything. It was because you loved your wife and your baby. And we're like, no, that tracks. That's good. Okay. No moral problem there.
Maybe it's because Dodo, he doesn't know what the fiery pits of hell look like. So maybe she's like, I mean, my dad died. So that's okay, I guess.
Ask some questions. Like, so, but you take them to hell? What exactly is in hell? Like, I need some more answers. She's like, yeah, just look forward. You just look forward. Just like Chairman Jug said when she ran my parents off the road and killed my mom, who didn't have to die.
I love that, like, the dad knows that he's got, like, minutes before he's going to die. And so he's just putting pedal to the metal with his wife sitting next to him, who is not part of the deal. And is it like, oh, well, it happens. But I do, like, I think there's many reasons why their happily ever after is pretty impossible. Like, if he is, and I never felt that way with Kim Shin and Ji-yoon Tak and Goblin, because the way that I see that playing out is that he will finally go to rest when she lives out a full life kind of thing. Or she'll keep getting reincarnated and he gets to have lifetime after lifetime after lifetime with her. And I'm fine with that too.
She keeps showing up in her schoolgirl uniforms.
Yes. But I really didn't see how, especially when they showed Dodo He's horror at him collecting on that woman's deal. Because that's when she, like, ran away from him. And then all of a sudden she just kind of forgot about it.
And she was like, yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine, like,
quibbles.
She goes off to the office and he goes off to collect souls. And then they have dinner.
Yeah, and he's not even going off. I mean, that lady was probably a baddie too. What happens when it's like the cancer kid parents and they're like, please no, my child will be an orphan. I only did this to spare them total agony and suffering. And she's like, well,
it's your job. It's your job.
Forward. Yeah.
I was just gonna.
I mean, yeah. Her punishment is that she should turn into a 40-year-old unfuckable K-drama actress, because that's what happens when you hit like 36-ish. And then that's it. He's gonna fucking leave you for some. No, whatever. Fuck her. The last thing I care about is her happiness. Fuck her.
Okay, all I can think of is that at some point Amy sent me a message on Instagram and was like, do you think this could work with him not ever becoming a human? And all I said was, when I watched it, all I could think of was that scene in Twilight. I think it was like Eclipse, where Bella's thinking about her future not being a vampire, and she's like 100 years old in a rocking chair, and Edward's still like fresh and so clean. Like, I love you, Bella, forever. And they like kisses her. I'm like, that's what it's going to look like. Like, she's going to be a little tiny Harmony and he's going to be his same self.
Yeah, fucking live it up, people. Well, meanwhile, the dad's like, hey, you think you have problems? My asshole just burned out for the 450,000th time.
Look at my anus.
And I don't even get to beat. And I'm not even with my wife. My wife's like in a homeless box somewhere, wherever you go, and you're not in hell. Like, fuck it. Jesus Christ.
No, you want to talk about the Goblin ripoff, though, at the end? Is that what you want to talk about? Is that where you thought I was going before?
I want to talk about... No, what I want to talk about is the fucking dirtbag who is Kim Se-ra, and how we pretend that her Zoolander happiness is fucking acceptable. And that's when I was like, every single person. Chairman Jung was a fucking bitch who killed the mom, and she was honestly the C word. She was not a good person. We're still going, and he still goes to her grave. I'm like, go to your dad's grave who's burning in the pit of fire. Chairman Jung is an asshole. So Chairman Jung's an asshole. The dad, honestly, not an asshole. The mom, not an asshole. They get the worst end of the deal, not assholes. Sure. Chairman Jung's whole fucking family, except for like the one second male lead, they're all assholes. But we have the villain who just abuses the fucking shit out of his son. Like, that son had no chance. Like, he was abused. It was horrible. Mom ignores the entire thing.
She was abused too.
Whatever.
I'm not excusing her, but she was burned with the poker too.
Sure. Yes. but she was burned with the poker after her son. Like, I believe, like, I felt like there was this time where he starts to abuse the son and she puts the headphones on.
for
and
sure.
I actually
Horrible.
felt bad because I was like,
Horrible.
you know what? You are a traumatized person. But when she goes to see the son in jail, the son's taken the fall for everything.
Yes.
And she's basically, she's like, well, like, she's traumatized, but she's like, you made your dad mad, and this is what happens when you make your dad mad.
She
like,
blamed
fuck it.
him.
So he kills himself. Yeah. So he kills himself because mom, the one time he's reaching out, like, please, in my horrible fucking life, in this goddamn fucking life with this hoe bitch grandma that we all pretend is a nice lady, and everyone else just being fucking rotten to me. And so I'm like fucked up too. And like apparently like burn a cigarette and break the grandma's butterfly. Yeah, I'd break that grandma's butterfly too. Now that I know what she was like, I'd see Grandma Butterfly go by. I'd be like, stomp on you. You suck. But she's like, yeah, whatever. Like, fuck you. Like, you deserve, like, you made your dad mad. Whatever. I'm out. So he hangs himself. And then at the very end in episode 16 too, for no reason except for like this bullshit happy ending, she's like, well, what I've decided to do is like basically open up a Zoolander center for kids who can't read good and stuff. And it's like a home for abused children. And everyone's like, oh, well, I mean, redemption. I'm like, 3 episodes ago, your son killed himself because you fucking abandoned him. And now we have to give you a cookie? No. And that's when I was like, stamp it. This is the worst drama I've ever seen, and I will hate it forever, and I will bitch about it forever. It was morally bankrupt by the time we got to 16. We were killing cancer kid parents and putting them in hell. Dads who were trying to protect families, putting them in hell. The mom who abandoned her child, even if she had abuse herself, abandoned him to sue it. Like, he ended his life based on like her abandonment, and we get to pretend she has a redemption arc. Grandma somehow fucking, because she was sad and had a limp and was old, we have to pretend that she wasn't a total hoe bag. Like, fuck them all. The only person that wasn't an asshole by the end was Buck Yu, his sexless relationship, and the second male lead. And Justin and Austin, who were just little bitches.
Your fucking mom who doesn't know which is which.
Also, I have to say, because I just love a squad, I love a squad. The whole gangster squad that opened the restaurant, I loved them. I thought they were hysterical. I know it probably is just like more dribble on this drama about like all
it was
the
one of the
extra
only
people.
it was one of the only good parts was the gangsters.
Yeah, but again, poor Justin and Austin who are just trying to be like good kids, and their mom's like, whatever, get away from me. Who cares?
And then the second female lead sword fighter, who you did throw this in the script, Amy.
Who
this is
was
just a minor
leaving for
quibble to close
episode-
it out. Episode after episode, I was just like, no one likes you.
Like, leave.
You're an asshole
You said you're
too.
leaving.
Just
Leave.
go. Yeah,
And
I
then
don't
she
give a shit.
stayed. And then she stayed. I know. I'm like,
Ugh.
how many episodes is she going to announce her departure? It was like 4.
All the time.
This was one of those dramas that, like The Good Bad Mother, had too many subplots and not enough time to wrap them all up. And I feel
I didn't want any more time. No, they had time. They misused their time.
so they misused their time, but like it was very reminiscent of The Good Bad Mother, where there were like multiple things happening at the same time. And by the end of it, you were just like, we didn't need this storyline. We didn't need this storyline. We didn't need this storyline. And that's kind of how I felt at the end. We got too much of one thing and not enough of the other. And while I enjoyed the sword fighting, like Leah said, I think it was too much. And I really at the end felt bad for her because she loved someone. She was like totally in love with someone who didn't even love her as a sibling. Like he had no love for her at all. He was like, well, whatever. I don't care. You're leaving. Great. Goodbye. Like, and she was like, no, I love you. Like, you saved me. You did all these things. And he's like, I'm a demon. I'm incapable of love. Ugh. You know, like I just felt bad for her at the end.
Feelings. Blah. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
felt bad
she had
for
no
her, but at the
purpose.
same time,
There
was
was
just
no-
annoyed. Yeah, she had no purpose in the drama at all.
I mean, and they couldn't even give the second male lead. Like, I was like, oh, I guess they're going to have something where I was like, I don't know if I'm even cheering for this because she's such a miserable person, but like maybe there'll be something. They're like, nah, no need.
Nope, he gets to be CEO. That's it.
He gets to be CEO of the sugary drink conglomerate. Congratulations.
Okay, but Leah, explain to me how Mr. Park is still alive after all these years and his 10-year contract. Does he just keep upping his contracts? Like, I don't understand.
I think he got a pass. I think he has a fucking hall pass that no one else gets. Kids with cancer parents don't get. Dad of your fucking true love doesn't get. The only reason the dad could have burned in hell in a way that made sense to me would have been if he had been the dad in the other life and had like sold his daughter out to like die that horrible sword death because she was a Christian. But no, like that doesn't happen either.
You could rewrite this whole drama. Like you had like
it just didn't make like it was unforced. The problem was it was unforced. And this is why like I feel paranoid turning my book in because I'm like, am I just not like, did they just not see? Like, it felt like somebody at one point just like hit episode 6 or 7. And it wasn't just that they like got lazy or they got tired. It felt like something happened and they were like, fuck this drama and fuck everyone who's ever going to watch it. You are all going to hell with the burning anuses and the parents. Like, the writer wrote Mr. Queen, right?
Did they? I don't know.
Let me look it up. I think
I've got the page open right now.
And I mean, like, that held together.
Oh, of course, their name is not clickable. Let's see. Yeah, Mr. Queen.
Yeah, which was a clever concept. Again, so great job at high concept. But I would say Mr. Queen, I would have still done Mr. Queen differently at the very end. But I lived with it, but I still would have done it a little differently. My demon, it honestly felt like it was like a buck you. Like, just buck you. Fuck you to everyone.
Fuck you.
Fucking put my emotions into a case with a bunch of body parts of a faceless man in a basement that's going to be lit in fire in like episode 7, and we're just not even we're going to forget about it.
It was a good premise. The execution fell apart, for sure.
So something we will do in this episode as well as a surprise teaser is I have a special guest I'll be bringing on who is Poppy. My daughter started watching with me at episode 5. She really enjoyed it, and I didn't have the heart to tell her all the reasons why I hated it.
You were
so I will interview her
because
she really wants to. I'll yuck yours though.
That's fine. I'm old enough to take it. I'm old enough. And like I said, this isn't a drama that I'm fighting for by any means.
No, for me, it was just the moral bankruptcy at the end of everyone. Everyone ended up being kind of bad. And I was like, but I want my romances to be like everyone's heroic and striving and reaching, not you're all either actively bad or lazily bad. And that's what I felt like they all ended up being.
I really did want to see him become human and like live a real life with her. Instead, he poofed out for like 2 days and then she wishes him back and there he is as a demon again. Zero explanation.
And their explanation for it was, yeah, God was like, well, surprise, 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 surprise.
And she made a wish and he makes the comment of like,
we've talked for.
No, oh my God, are we really at 1:45?
Yeah, we gotta wrap this.
Yeah, we gotta wrap this up.
It's like a 2-hour.
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Okay.
Your points are all very valid.
Well,
I'm not fighting against them.
I'm only happy to have a drama to bitch about for the rest of my life.
Well, we all should
and
have
like
one.
I always say, I watch everything for face value. So I had some quibbles, but none of them really bothered me.
Except if your daughter sent you into a burning hellscape to have your anus burned for all time, you'd feel some kind of way.
But couldn't I like cut a deal and come back as a demon? I feel like there's maybe that option.
So that you get to take other innocent good people who just want to save their families?
Payback's a bitch.
I mean, Guwan like killed a shit ton of people. and gets to live as this undertaker for the rest of his life.
You know what? I could live with that. That's like the goblin-y thing. Look, sometimes they were all assholes watching his true love die. If you were there, yeah, it was maybe awkward to die, but like you were probably complicit in like Woo-shun's murder in some way. Like, you know, whatever. I can handle some body count.
Just
not the fun kind.
Just not the like innocent people body count that he just keeps collecting.
No.
Every time the clock strikes midnight, he's just collecting innocent bodies.
Not when it's not for greed. If it's for personal greed and gain, I mean, I don't still believe that hell's a good thing, but like, okay. But when it's for people who are like altruistically just like,
Right.
I need to save the people I love, and we're like, okay. Goodbye, Colin. Like, come on. Come on.
We know what Leah's personal hell is going to be.
I was like, couldn't you see them all like, oh, well, what we didn't tell you is those people die, but they get to go like somewhere good because they were good people.
Would that have made
They
you
go to
feel
the
better?
good place.
Would that have made you feel better?
Yes. Yes. If they were all in like a pasture with like fucking ponies, yeah, I would have felt better. Like a quibble, I would have been like, still a bad deal, but I would have been like, okay, sure. Like, give them some mangoes.
Okay, and then I know that everyone needs to wrap up, but I just need to hear Amy's reaction of when they went goblin style.
So it was funny because Megan messaged me on Instagram. She's like, I have a trigger warning for you for episode 16. And she didn't know that I had already seen it. I'm like, I can't believe. So here's the thing. Like, you're gonna pander to those of us who love Goblin and make him disappear like Goblin did. And did it hit me? It did, because just seeing that evokes Goblin. And I feel like I was crying for Kim Shin when that happened, because I knew that Gu-wan was not going to be gone. Like, I knew he wasn't. I'm like, if you're going to rip off Goblin doing this, then he's coming right back. Of course he is. You can't out Kim Shin. But yeah, that kind of disappearing is going to get me every time. It happens in Infinity War, in Avengers Infinity War. Like, that's how everybody goes out. And I'm like, that will always get me. Something like that happens in A Time Called You. It will always get me. There's something about that that's triggering to me because of Goblin. But yeah, nobody does it like Goblin does. But it got me. It did. I was like, God damn you.
I didn't even have a lip quiver. I was just like, fucking toast that marshmallow.
I
up.
just couldn't believe after
You were
that
like,
happened,
bye.
After that happened, then they show the trailer for the next week, and Suk-min is still alive. I'm like, how?
Yeah, no, I was so distracted by that. I was like, oh my God, this is not a good character.
No. So he's in
Like
prison.
RoboCop.
Great. Who
He's
cares?
RoboCop.
Anyway, that was my demon, folks.
What are you guys watching?
Blah!
I am, like I said, I just
start
went,
when I start
I'm
the
watching
Paradise.
Marry My Husband live, and I freaking love it. Love it. And yeah, I just went back to Love to Hate You, which I started like a million years ago and didn't leave it because I didn't like it. It was just I was watching other stuff for the pod.
How about you, Megan?
I'm watching Marry My Husband and Dr. Slump.
How is Dr. Slump?
Do you like Dr. Slump? I'm hearing mixed things.
So I like it, but you do have two leads who are well into their 30s that play their high school selves. So if that's your thing, you'll enjoy those parts. And if it's not, then it's not the drama for you. It's cute. It has an underlying mystery. And it is a modern day Fated Mates with enemies to lovers. So,
And Leah, I'm sorry, did you say what you were watching?
Well, I've the last couple of days finishing up the book. I've watched very little, just some BTS serial shows. I'm watching Bon Voyage. I will be starting tomorrow, The Killer's Paradox, or A Killer's Paradox. I forget if it's or the, but I want to see, I'm ready for some more Toy with Shik and some so cute. I am here for it. So let's
you'll
do
have to let me
some
know how
people who
violent
need
that is.
killing.
Yeah. I think you'd like a shop for killers.
Yeah,
By the
I
way.
think I probably will too. I need to do some, I need a palette cleanser
totally.
with some.
I gotcha.
You can
Art.
always start You're Beautiful. A classic.
And I do want to watch You're Beautiful. Yes.
I want to say it's like 2014, maybe 2016 drama.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. We can't wait to hear what you thought of My Demon. And thank you, Megan, for joining us tonight and filling in for Megan. And we'll see you all next time.
Thank you for having me.
Annyeong.
Annyeong.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoona Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!